Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on February 16th, 2022 at approximately 10:05 a.m. PST. I had an interesting encounter yesterday. I went out for my walk, and much as I have been very clear that I do believe wholeheartedly in God and wholeheartedly in Jesus Christ, I am not one to tell you who to follow or what denomination to follow. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you right off the bat. In my experience, I've been researching talking to people about religion, for my entire life. Now, I came back to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to spread a simple message to everybody in existence. And that message is simple. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, this society did not take a few days to get to the state it's in. I am happy to say I'm seeing some changes. This said, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel, and so that you can find out when the next ones come out. I do my best to get these videos out at least once a day. Now here's the thing. This is where you come in. I am absolutely asking you to pass this message on because I'm not going to reach everybody out there or everything. When I talk about reaching everybody in existence, this means humans, non-humans, non-mammalian. It literally refers to every species, whether it's animal, plant, energetic. It doesn't make any difference. Even the spirits. Yes, I live a very different life. But I've always been that way. But the reason I started off with this piece of information today about this walk, I had somebody just yesterday. I went out for a walk, and he immediately tried converting me to his religion. It's not going to happen. Much as I do believe wholeheartedly in my own selves. I do believe in what I've come to understand as God, etc. I do not agree with any one of the standard theological mainstream religions. And the reason I don't is because I've seen massive flaws in all of them. And ironically, or intriguingly enough, probably not ironic, but I'll look into that later. Intriguingly enough, every single one of the religions I've looked at teaches essentially the same thing. Now, I only follow 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now if you take a look at the guidelines of whatever religion, whatever spiritual guidelines you're following, or whatever support group, whatever family, doesn't matter. Compare the guidelines that you live by to those 3. And I do feel, I am pretty certain you'll find that all of yours fit in the 3 of mine. The biggest difference is I've only got 3 I have to look at. Makes it a whole lot easier to remember. Now, this gentleman spent close to an hour, and it was an intriguing conversation. He made some great points, that supported his view. What he failed to do was convince me that following only his religion, which was very limited in my opinion, and very misguided in many ways, he failed to convince me that was a good path. Now, the neat part about it from my end is I've looked at a lot of different religions, a lot of different spiritual paths, but one thing I've found in common: the majority of them talk about fear. Fear the creator, fear this, fear that. Net result, we have a society where people are afraid of their own shadow half the time. They're certainly afraid of different skin colors. And now we've got a group of people which is also in the field that I work in, which is UFO phenomena. People are pushing for full disclosure by the government. Now, the comical part there, in my eyes, is members of the government are at odds with each other over whether these phenomena are real. I heard it put one day really well. Those of you that believe, whether we're talking about believing in God or believing in UFOs, it doesn't matter. Those of you that believe, proof is not necessary. For those of you that don't, the odds are proof is not possible. Okay, this is why I tell you, don't just take my word for it. Don't just accept the fact that what I'm saying is everything, is all about it. I will tell you, there is no way I'm going to sit here and lie to you to make you feel better. Okay, I've done it once in my entire career. That's, at this point, 48 years. Almost 49. I've done it once where I lied to somebody to make them feel better. But understand, that person literally looked at me, came to a live psychic reading with me. Okay, and he sat down and he goes, look, I don't care about my future. I don't want to know about my past, and I already know about my present. He says, I don't care if you have to lie to me. Tell me something to make me feel better, to give me some hope for the future. He said, I don't care if it's false hope. I just want to feel better when I walk away. That is the one time that I did that. Now, fortunately, I'm also a science fiction, science fantasy writer, and have been playing Dungeons and Dragons for, 13, so 45 years now. So do I have an imagination capable of doing this? The answer is yes. What I don't seem to have the capacity to do, or maybe I've just chosen not to, I don't know. Some people say I've grown beyond it. But am I likely? I did grow up in the church. But am I likely to go back to the church and start following the doctrine of any church or any spiritual path? Not likely. The one thing that I found, and I do encourage you to find this, I spent my entire life striving to find a way to fit in, to find a way to be at peace, to find peace of mind. Only I kept trying to find it by figuring out how to fit in with everybody. About a month, maybe 2 months ago, I came to a realization. It finally dawned on me, the way to find that peace of mind, the way to kill your stress level, is to come to terms with the person here. And I don't mean me, I mean you. Come to terms with yourself. Come to accept you as is. This sign up here, this wooden sign I've got over my shoulder up here, that sign says, I am worth it. The four most powerful words where it comes to rebuilding self-esteem, self-motivation, self-transformation, self-prosperity, you name the word, the term. Those four words will help you get there. Now, it's not just a question of looking at them. It's a question of taking them to heart. Okay. Now, I've heard tale of people that run into an interesting problem. They look at what they're making. Okay, like you can look at what my income is, and I'm not about to go into great detail about it. But people that have a higher income than me, which quite frankly is a fair chunk, you may find if you're on the lower income side of things, okay, you may find that people look down on you. That people tell you, oh, you're not doing well because you're not making X number of dollars. Well, that is undoubtedly true. You're not making as much as they are. But the thing to keep in mind here is look in your heart. Do you feel that you're improving above what you had? Are you making better? Are you making a better living now than what you were before? I know of a couple of cases. Okay, and bear in mind I'm rather reclusive, so a couple of cases is pretty significant. I know of a couple of cases where people were on social assistance. Now, whether in Canada it's called social assistance or SSI in the States, doesn't matter. I've known people that were on that and making really good money. They went to work for somebody else, started earning their own money, ended up making less than they were making on the social assistance. But although their income dropped, their sense of self, their sense of pride in their own abilities climbed like a rocket. All of a sudden, they were looking in the mirror going, I'm actually working to make this happen. For those of you that are struggling to, as the saying goes, get off the system, understand, and you won't try that again. Don't just take my word for it. Talk to other people around you. But what I've found, I know for me personally, I feel much better if I do something to earn a living than I do sitting on my tail feathers waiting for an income to come in. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate assistance, but I still feel better actually giving back. And due to the fact that, when you look at my education level, I'm not quitting my current job to go to work elsewhere because I don't have the training for it. And at 58 years old, the odds are I'm not going to get hired over a kid that's got, 20, that's only in his early 20s. The reason for that is because I don't have as long a work life left. And that's just a reality. Now, intriguingly enough, and before you jump on that, if you're in my age bracket, many of you are debating, should I retire? Because that's what, retirement age is at such and such. I know many people that have been forced into retirement and gone, I'm bored. What do I do? I will tell you, if you can carry on working, and this is just my personal philosophy, I've got no intention on retiring. Now, I'm 58, so in 2 years, I'll be at an age where I can retire. Where I can legally say, yes, I'm able to retire. And who knows, in 2 years, I may look at that. Or I can wait for another 7 years, whereby I turn around and go, okay, now I'm at full retirement age. But the writing that I've been doing has set the stage for me to continue working until I drop dead. Of course, the trick there is marketing is not my strong suit. But the reality is I'm very open to listening to other people's outlook, especially where it comes to their religious or spiritual outlooks. It is fascinating for me to find people trying to convert me. It doesn't work. To be specific, I grew up in a Protestant church, in a Christian church. I walked away from it. Since then, I've had Christians, Jehovah's Witness, which are another branch of Christianity, Jewish people, and Mormons, again, another form of Christianity, striving to convert me to get me to go back to church. And the reality is, I got nothing against the church. I encourage you, if you're going, absolutely, if you're finding fulfillment there, and you're finding the emotional support that you need and the spiritual support that you feel you require to make your life more effective, absolutely keep going. This is not a slight against churches. This is simply an issue. Oh yeah, my apologies. There was one I missed, which is kind of an offshoot, but I also had somebody from the Church of Satan try and convert me. It doesn't work. Maybe it's because I'm too stubborn. One person told me flat out, if you think you know all the answers, you've already got a problem. Right. Well, I don't figure I've got all the answers. If I had all the answers, I'd be gone. However, I do have a rather unique outlook on life, which is why I have no problem talking to people about aliens, UFO phenomenon, technologies, the pagan practices. Now, do understand, I don't know a whole lot about the pagan practices, nor about the religious practices, in all fairness. So I send people to people that already know them. The trick to being a spiritual guide is to acknowledge when you know something and acknowledge when you don't. And point people in the direction so they can find it out for themselves. I grew up in the church, and I was always encouraged to read the Bible cover to cover. You have your own mind, and it's time to really start putting it to use. Take a look in your heart and go, what am I content with? What am I looking to do with my life? What do I see as successful? Now, It is very true when people say there is no I in team. That's very true, there isn't. Unless you really can't spell, at which point maybe you can find a way to make it work. Okay. There's no I in team, but then there's no Z in team either. Or Z. Okay. I mean, congratulations to the person that figured that out. But there is one thing about every team. Every group effort, every individual is an I. And it takes several individuals to make a team. Which means if you really look at it, there is an I in every team. As a matter of fact, in every team there's multiple I's. Okay. So I wonder if that makes it Tayayaim. But I don't know. In any event, when you look at your world, ask yourself, are you content with the way your world is working? Now, I'm very pleased with the way that things are working for me. Okay, my weight is coming down, my blood pressure is at a decent level. I'm having a lot of luck on that department. Okay. Things are going quite well in my eyes. I even had a nutritionist tell me that drinking this amount of coffee that I drink is actually a good thing because I drink very weak coffee. Okay, to be clear, most people I've talked to on a 12 cup coffee pot will put in 4 tablespoons of coffee, 3 to 4 tablespoons. I put in 1, which apparently, according to nutritionists, means I'm just getting enough water for the day. Because I'll drink 30 to 40 cups of coffee, of my coffee, a day, without even thinking. But apparently that means I'm drinking, 30 to 40 cups of water with a little bit of flavoring in it. Okay, but because there's so little, it flushes everything out, and I'm doing fine. Am I altering my diet? Absolutely, because I'm not entirely content with the health level I'm at. My weight drop, I'm quite content with. And this is the trick to making sure your life is going. Now, you'll notice I keep putting my hands back together. Okay, that is a method of drawing the energy through. Now, even though I'm talking to you, and this is one of those neat little tricks. Somebody asked me one day, how do you enhance your own energy levels? Okay, well, I've talked about so you can feel it. Take your hands and put them just a 1/4 inch, an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch apart. Okay, and you'll feel a little bit of energy between your hands. That's the energy that you use for healing, for turning your life around. Okay. Now, you can separate it. Now, the reality is I can't pull my hands apart far enough so I can feel them. Because, well, my arms only go apart about 4 feet. If I keep the 4, maybe 4.5 feet, if I keep the wrist cocked. Because the reality of it is, when you're looking at making your life better, it requires this. So when you see me putting my hands together like this, the other thing that keeps running through my head all the time is heal. You don't have to know what's off kilter with you. You don't have to know there is something off kilter. Your body already knows. And one of the reasons I don't get ill is because I spend so much of my waking hours thinking heal. I just don't bother with getting sick. Yes, I've had some hiccups. Okay, I've had a heart attack more than I care to count. I've bypassed the near-death experience and went straight to the dead part, and then came back. So, when people start trying to talk to me about converting me to their belief where you die, you end up going up to heaven, or you end up going to hell, or you end up sleeping in a box until your body decays. Been there, done that. Don't need a conversion unit. Okay. But when you're looking at your life, ask yourself, are you content with you? And if you feel you have the right to do things your way, by definition, by extrapolation, if you will, it is imperative you realize that other people have their right as well. Okay, if you like wearing, as I do, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. If I desire to wear black, so be it. Okay, you can't see it because I'm sitting down, but I tend to wear a lot of t-shirts and jeans. If that's my style, if that's what I desire to wear, then that's great. But at the same time, my going out and poking fingers at people and telling them, oh, you shouldn't be wearing a suit and tie. Okay, that is where you're overstepping boundaries, at least in my opinion. Like I told my ex-wife, she was talking to me about getting a tie, and like I told her, you want to put a tie on me, wait till I die. Until then, it ain't going to happen. Told a gentleman that wanted me to go to church one day that said, he goes, I would have taken you to my church if you had been dressed better. Of course, my immediate reaction was, well, the day God tells me to dress more effectively, I'll probably pay a little attention to it. Maybe not much, but I will take notice. And so the day I start worrying about when somebody else when some corporeal or otherwise tells me that I've got to dress better, the moment I start paying attention to that, I'll probably check myself into the hospital and find out what went sideways. Because the best thing you can do for yourself, and this will help your self-esteem, your self-worth, the whole 9 yards. It'll even help your own level of success. When you come to terms with the fact that you're content with you and what you're not content with, start making changes. I would love to hear your comments in the comments below. If you've got a question, absolutely, there's a list of different places below, a list of different ways of getting a hold of me in the section below this video that tells you how to reach out. Okay, one thing I will tell you, if I don't know your number, the odds of my answering a phone call, like an actual phone call, are virtually non-existent. I may answer it by accident, but don't hold your breath. So that said, if you do find my number, understand this cell phone does have text. Okay, a text message I will take a look at, but if you're dropping me a text message, if you do go and track my phone number down and desire to talk to me, definitely leave me a text message first, because if you don't and you just straight phone, the odds are I won't answer it. Okay, I became reclusive long ago, way before everything went sideways. I actually became very reclusive. Okay, like more than a decade before everything went sideways. And the reason for that is I get so many phone calls from people going, from people telling me, oh, my SIN number has been canceled, or scams telling me my visa has been overdrawn. Or I love the ones that tell me that there's a problem with a customs order. Because to my way of thinking, if there's a problem at the border, if there's something legally wrong at the border, okay, the cops are going to show up here. So giving me a phone call to tell me there's a problem does not seem to make a lot of sense. These are simple scams that I have been privy to. I like the one I got the other day. Okay, telling me my Yahoo account was about to be suspended, and to hit this link to get it clarified. Absolutely something very important here, and many people seem to forget it. Check the origin of the email. When I looked at the origin at the email address that it came in on, it was not Yahoo. It was some other number, some other name, and I forget offhand what it was. But it had absolutely nothing to do with Yahoo. When you get an email like that, do not hit the respond button. Okay, this is where getting to know you, getting to know yourself, getting to know the way things are in the world is imperative. It's absolutely necessary. Because I have found that many so-called professionals, they don't follow their own guidelines. And that's the one thing that I do my level best to do myself. All of the tools that I talk about here, all the tools that I offer, many of them I've written down in written form. Okay, self-esteem is where I really started. Well, actually, in all fairness, relationships was where I started. Self-esteem was a close second. Okay, But I do have books, and like I've got a lot of books listed below this video, all of which are in stock in my possession right now and can be ordered directly through me using PayPal or using email transfer, depending on where you are. Okay, these are things that these are easy to get, and the reason I've written them in paperback form is so that you can get the information and have it right there. Okay, I've kept the cost as low as I can get away with in order to handle shipping and production costs and what have you. Okay, but the real key to the whole 9 yards is you have to be content with you. Okay, I still don't like the fact my eyes don't work as well as I'd like them to. And since I don't, I'm going to a professional in about a week here, I think. 9 days. To get my eyes checked again and get these replaced. Now, of course, these glasses will then be useless. Well, to me. But the company I go to takes these glasses and ships them off to countries, to places where people that require glasses and can't afford to get them can get a pair of glasses. They're still perfectly good. I'm just not happy with the fact my eyes don't work as well as I'd like. So I'm getting them adjusted. Okay, my concern with being able to see at this point is not so much the computer I have to, but technically I can get closer. My real concern is to be able to see to drive. Because, well, frankly, since trust is not my strong suit. Okay, and that's a bad thing to say in a lot of ways. But on the flip side of that, I also keep telling you, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Take a look at what I'm talking to you and compare it to your own beliefs. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's where you start changing the way you are. Okay, and everybody in the world can tell you to change gears. If it doesn't feel right here, it's not likely to happen for you. And that includes rehab when you're dealing with drug addiction and that sort of thing. If you don't get the bite here, where you feel it's time to change and time to break that, then the odds are, no matter how many people tell you, and no matter if you're forced into rehab, the odds are it isn't going to take as well. Now, I will be back again tomorrow, but until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.